Sanj had always believed in simple joys: sunrises, handwritten notes, and the soft rustling of pages in her favorite books. She was a schoolteacher in a small town where life moved at a peaceful pace. Her days were spent teaching young children, helping them dream beyond the boundaries of their village. She had a quiet strength, a nurturing soul, and a heart that overflowed with love waiting to be shared. Arjun came into her life unexpectedly, like the first monsoon rain after a long summer. He was a software engineer from the city, gentle, thoughtful, and with a calmness that balanced Sanj's spirited nature. Their meeting was arranged by family, but their connection grew organically. Long conversations about life, dreams, and silly childhood stories soon created a bond rooted in friendship and understanding. 2 years after their wedding, their life had settled into a rhythm: mornings with tea on the balcony, shared glances. While cooking, weekend walks, and quiet nights reading together, they had spoken of having a child, often imagining what their baby would look like. But they were in no rush, letting life flow at its own pace. Then came that one morning. Sanj stared at the faint pink lines on the pregnancy test with a mix of disbelief and awe. Her hands trembled. Her heart pounded. She placed the test on the table and covered her face, laughing and crying all at once. When Arjun came home that evening, he found her sitting with a tiny pair of baby socks and the test beside her. Her eyes met his. "We're having a baby," she said softly. Time stood still. Arjun's eyes widened, then softened. He knelt before her, took her hands in his, and smiled through tears. This is the most beautiful moment of my life," he said. Pregnancy brought its own set of changes. Morning sickness made her weak. Her emotions often took her by surprise. She'd cry at a sad song or laugh uncontrollably at a silly meme, but Arjun adapted with grace, learning to cook her favorite dishes, waking up to her cravings, and holding her close through her fears. As her belly grew, so did their excitement. They started documenting everything: each doctor's visit, every ultrasound photo, even the baby's first kick. Arjun built the crib with his own hands. Sanj spent hours painting stars on the nursery ceiling, whispering lullabies into the quiet of the room. In the 7th month, there was a false labor scare. It was late at night and raining heavily. Arjun carried her through puddles to the car and drove her to the hospital, his hand gripping hers tightly. When the doctor assured them all was well, Arjun rested his forehead against hers and said, "I never want to feel that fear again. You and the baby. You are my heart." They named her before she was born, Aradhya, the one we prayed for. When the real day came, it was long and painful. Sanj endured every contraction with fierce strength. Arjun never left her side, whispering encouragement, wiping her sweat, kissing her forehead. And then finally, there she was, tiny, wrinkled, wailing with life. The moment Arjun held Aradhya, everything else faded. "She's perfect," he whispered, "just like her mother." In the months that followed, their love evolved again. Sleepless nights turned into giggles at 2 a.m. Diaper changes became teamwork. Her first smile felt like magic. They took turns holding her, feeding her, singing her to sleep. It wasn't just a story of a pregnancy. It was the story of 2 hearts, growing stronger, of love finding deeper roots, and of a family being born. Not just with the birth of a child, but with every moment shared, every challenge faced, and every joy multiplied. Their love was no longer just about each other. It was about the life they had created and the life they would build together, with Aradhya at the center of it all. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, life in the little house changed forever with Aradhya's arrival. The first few days were overwhelming. Sanj was still healing from the delivery, often exhausted and emotional. Arjun took over most of the chores, diaper changes, burping the baby, even learning how to swaddle like a pro. He was not just a father. He became her partner in every true sense. At night, when Sanj would feel insecure about her postpartum body, Arjun would hold her close and whisper, "You're more beautiful now than ever. You gave us life." Those words, though simple, were like balm to her tired soul. They developed a rhythm. Arjun would rock Aradhya while humming softly as Sanj took quick naps. On weekends, they would dress Aradhya in tiny frocks and take pictures, building an album that would one day tell her the story of her parents' endless love. One particularly beautiful memory was Aradhya's first laugh. It came unexpectedly, during a power cut one summer evening. Arjun was making funny faces in the dim candlelight, and Aradhya let out the sweetest giggle. Sanj clapped her hands, tears filling her eyes. She laughed. She really laughed. That tiny moment felt like a festival in their home. Despite the joy, challenges didn't stop. Sanj had days when anxiety overwhelmed her. Was she doing enough? Was she a good mother? Arjun never let her face those fears alone. He would take her on late-night walks, sometimes carrying Aradhya in a sling, just so they could talk and breathe under the stars. When Sanj decided to return to teaching part-time, she hesitated. "Can I leave her even for a few hours?" she asked. Arjun, holding their daughter, kissed her hand and said, "She'll learn strength from you. Go inspire the world, just like you inspire us." One evening, as they all sat on the floor playing with wooden blocks, Sanj looked at Arjun and Aradhya, her world in front of her. That night, she wrote in her journal, "I thought love was in stolen kisses and shared dreams. But now I know, true, love is in sleepless nights, in warm baby giggles, in holding each other through fear. It's in the quiet strength of a partner who never lets go." Years later, Aradhya would grow up reading her mother's journals, seeing pictures of her, first steps, first words, the crayon drawings she made with her father. She would come to understand that the greatest love story wasn't in movies or novels. It was in the everyday life her parents built, brick by brick, with love, patience, and laughter. And through every phase of life, be it teething, first, days of school, or growing teenage years, Sanj and Arjun stayed by each other's side. A team, a family, a forever love story. Because real love, they learned, isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up every single day.